So today I have a very interesting video, and it's so interesting and such a unique subject that I had to bring on three experts, three experts that are definitely experts in this field. So what this is about is that one of my subscribers, and I'll put the comment on the screen because I forgot to grab the comment before I started this video, but she told me that in the newest video from the 2024 convention, that Jesus' birth and Mary giving birth to Jesus, that it sounds more like she's having an orgasm. And as long as I've been studying these people, these Watchtower perverts, that this is not the first time they've done something like this, so I had to check it out for myself. And when I checked it out, to me, it did sound more like an orgasm than childbirth. But because I'm a man and I never, obviously, I don't know what that really sounds like. I then started to send the video to several women that I know, and every single one of them basically said the same thing, that it sounds more like sex than childbirth. And if this is true, it shows how sick these people are. Because, like, personally, I don't consider myself Christian anymore, but I still respect Christians, and I'm still looking to see what I believe. But for those who are Christians, this is an absolute gross disrespect that they would take something like Jesus' birth and make it perverted, which that's something Satan would do, obviously, and we know Satan is really behind this sick organization anyway. So, the person that sent me this information said that she played just the audio for her husband, and her husband literally thought it was porn. So that's what we're going to examine. So I decided that I needed to bring experts on, and I'll just be blunt, not that I'm trying to be like, I don't know what the word is. I'm not trying to be gross or anything, but I just have to be blunt and say that I want to have people on who, one, have had childbirth, and obviously who've had orgasms, female orgasms, and maybe they even have experience with faking orgasms. I don't know. I won't go there unless they want to bring it up. But um, so this is my panel of experts. So the first one that I'll introduce is Rebecca. And Rebecca, how many kids do you have?
Two.
And
Two. Mhm.
and roughly, how many orgasms do you think that you had in your life? You could give me a rough figure.
Oh Lord. I'd rather not say. Let's
That's
just
a tough
not.
call
Okay.
right there.
Okay.
Let's
So
not.
so you know what? I won't even ask the other two that question. I won't go there. But um
Yeah.
the reason I'd even asked her that is because when you're trying to figure out Watchtower, it's like you kind of have to go to these dark areas to really expose them. So, in so many words, let me just say that all these women obviously know what an orgasm sounds like and childbirth. So, um, and Rebecca, how long have you been out of the Jehovah's Witness religion?
Since 2017.
Okay, and just real briefly, how did you leave?
It was this fellowship. Yeah.
Okay, and then
And
after you
the
got
brainwashing kind of came off like a year and a half ago. So it took a while. So
okay,
for me to
and
know it was false religion. But anyway, yeah.
And I'm going to put a link on the screen because I actually did an interview with Rebecca. So for those who want to know more about her story, I'll put that interview on the screen and I'll put the link down below. So the next guest I want to introduce is Christy Frost from Florida. And Christy is the most normal one out of all four of us because she's never been a Jehovah's Witness. Um, and she's also going to be the most biased person on this panel because she's never been to JW, so she has nothing personal against them. So we're just going to get her honest opinion on basically, does this sound like childbirth or a female orgasm? Um, so Christy, how many kids do you have?
I have two.
Okay, two. So she knows what she's talking about. Um,
Yeah.
and then
Been pregnant a few times.
okay. So so then my last guess is Ruby Quinn, but I'm going to call her Ruby Queen because she's the queen of our panel tonight because she's had how many kids?
Had three.
Three kids, and did you take drugs or was it natural?
Oh, they were all natural, but my very firstborn was without epidural.
Mm.
Okay. So before anybody says something stupid in the comments, because Watchtower people always try to come out and discredit things, before you embarrass yourself, just understand that these are women who've actually given childbirth. So, um, just wanted to say that before you embarrass yourself and try to say they don't know what they're talking about. So, what I'm going to do is I'm first going to play this video, and then I'm going to get deeper into it after we first play it once through. Okay, so that's the video. And before I ask any of your opinions about it, let me just play a real childbirth and put it side by side with that. And then we'll first ask Rebecca after we play this next one.
Yes. He's really coming out.
Yeah, look at him go. We're already crowning. We're doing so much pressure on you. Hey.
Good
And you're out.
So, Rebecca, what is your take on that?
It doesn't really sound like childbirth. Yeah, quite a difference between those two videos. So, yeah. I played it for some people at work, just some random people when you were talking about doing this, and they were like, "Yeah, nobody agreed or said that that sounds like childbirth." So, I mean, it's just very telling. So, yeah, no, mm-mm,
And when you mentioned it to coworkers, how many of those were Jehovah's Witnesses?
none. There's like
Okay.
three or four I sent it to.
Mhm. So that just
Wow.
emphasizes the
Yeah.
point where we're not just anger XJWs trying to make stuff up. Rebecca asked a bunch of coworkers who have never been Jehovah's Witnesses, and you didn't tell them what it was, right? You just played it for them.
Can't recall. Think I think I did have to preface it first, but I don't think it mattered because I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, just listening to it and closing your eyes, it's just it sounds like you're watching a porn. I mean, it does. So I feel bad for I mean, I don't feel bad for the person, the Jehovah's Witness that had to, come up with that and do that sound effect. It's a little embarrassing. I'm sure they were embarrassed. They had to have been a little bit. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So that's my
Yeah.
opinion.
And the thing too is Jehovah's Witnesses are so brainwashed that they'll just do whatever they're told because it's all coming from Jehovah. So because the way that I see it is that I'm sure they did like a couple of different takes. Like they don't just it's not like improv where people just go up there and start like, pretending that they're pregnant. So the director they probably had like 5 or 6 takes and you're gonna take the best one and there's gonna be somebody telling her exactly how to do it. Um so let's go to another one and then we'll ask Christy what she thinks of this one.
It's okay.
Okay, Krista, your turn. What do you think of that childbirth, the birth of Jesus?
The first, I felt that woman's pain, the first one. But when it comes to that video that was created on behalf of Jehovah's Witnesses everywhere, bad acting. And it just doesn't sound like they recruited the right woman for the job. I mean, if that was the case, I mean, I've been in the room when my nephew was born. I've been in the place when people were pregnant. It just doesn't sound anything like what I've witnessed or what I know about. And I've been pregnant myself for 6 times. I've been pregnant 6 times and I've experienced some kind of pain, and that just does not sound like anything that I've ever went through unless I was entertaining somebody. You know, and I almost want to laugh every time I see it because it just doesn't make sense to me. It's like those two things don't match.
Yeah, so just to clarify, would you say it sounds more like sex or childbirth?
Sex.
Okay. I already knew that, but
I agree with Rebecca when she said if you were to just look away, close your eyes, it doesn't sound like a natural childbirth to me.
yeah. And I just had to ask you to clarify it because I don't want to be rude, but some of the Jehovah's Witnesses that watch my channel are still like very brainwashed and brain dead. So it's like you sometimes have to spell it out, like make
Yeah,
it clear, like, no, this sounds like sex, not childbirth. But
it
you'll
does.
see the comments though. When I post it, there'll be one or two morons that are gonna say something. So
Yeah.
okay, so now Ruby's up, and let's go to the next one.
Get out! Last week the lady says, I want my baby!
Okay, Ruby, out of the 3 children you had, how many sound like the JW version?
None of them. It is like you said in the beginning, it's very disrespectful. I am a catechumen and I am learning about the birth of Jesus and Mary. And, between Catholics and Orthodox Christians alike, they do agree that Mary never had pain during labor or during the birth. So the video in itself is heresy. It's disrespectful to portray Mary as having pain giving birth to Jesus. So that's kind of like one opinion that I had towards the religious side of it. If I'm coming out and I'm giving a secular opinion, it does sound like sex. It does not sound like childbirth. It is a very high pitched moan type of sound that I'm hearing. And as you see with the natural birth with the women, all that screaming is coming from your chest. It's coming from your gut. You're not giving a whimpering high pitched moan from your head. And as a woman, you would know the difference. And only a woman would know the difference. And so that's how I can tell that it is bad acting. I agree with Christy, because in other movies of actresses that do give birth, um, For example, in the movie Noah with Russell Crowe and Emma Watson, she gives birth in that movie. And that's an actress who doesn't have any children. And she gave a very, natural looking birth in her acting. And it was perfect. It was legit. So you can tell the difference between a good actor and a bad actor. Another thing that I noticed about this whole clip with Mary from the JW version of it, it doesn't even sound like that woman is making those noises right there and then. It sounds like a voiceover. Like if they copied and paste an audio to the video. Like I don't even see her like acting in the way like she should. She's just making facial expressions, but it doesn't even look like she's in real pain. You know what I mean? It's just bad acting. So I don't like it either way. I don't like it because it's disrespectful religiously, and I don't like it because even if I'm not religious or I'm not a Jehovah's Witness, it doesn't even sound like a real childbirth. It sounds like something that my children cannot be in the same room with me watching that video.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Ruby, that I didn't think about when you said so like it sounded like a voiceover because if it's because what I think, of course, what my work on my channel is, I think it's subliminal. I think it's deliberate and they did it on purpose. And if they added that voice later, that means the actor wasn't even in on it. They easily could have added that. And then if they did add it, there's no excuse for it because if they're going to add it, there's hundreds of thousands of real pregnancies that they could have added that or somebody knows how to act. So if they added it, then the bad actor excuse doesn't count. They know what they're doing. They probably had somebody purposely making those sexual sounds, is what I think. And the thing too is that if this was a one-time thing with Watchtower, I may give them the benefit of the doubt and say it's a bad actor, but this is what they do. They put all types of sick stuff in all of their movies and literature. So to me, it's like it's another thing. It's not a coincidence.
Exactly. There was one more point that I wanted to add. I don't know if you thought about this yet, but like I told Chrissy in the beginning, the only women that they can pull for this type of a video are women at Bethel. And as you know, you cannot have children if you're in Bethel. So none of those women are experienced in childbirth to begin with. So even if it's the actress, or even if it's a voiceover of another woman at Bethel, and they just slapped it on this tape, it still doesn't fit because they've never had experience with childbirth. So they're trying to reenact or mimic childbirth when these women are either married and childless and they don't have that type of experience. So that's why I give the example of a real actress who she never even gave birth before, like Emma Watson in that movie. And yet in her yells and her screams in that movie was accurate. It was on point. You felt the pain of her giving birth. And she gave birth to twins in that movie. So it was like it was really intense. In that video with Mary, there's no intensity. Her face, there's not even lines on her face. It's like she's not even doing any motion to the like the sound doesn't fit the face. So that's why I wanted to also bring that out. These women do not have experience.
Yeah, and oh, I think I just forgot it. There's another point I was thinking when you were talking to go along with that. I'll mention if it comes back to me. Um, but I want to show you something else too. So, as you have all said, and the person that originally sent me this said that basically, if you close your eyes, it's even more clear that it's like sounds like sex. So, let's take a look at it blurred out, just to put that in perspective to those watching this video. So, we're going to blur it out and see what this really sounds like when you just listen to it.
Ooh.
It's more clear, right? When you blur it out.
Yeah, it's really it's really nasty work. Like I just noticed now while it's blurred out that every time she breathes in, every time she inhales, it's just not the way you wouldn't do that in childbirth. It's like she's forcing it, she's making it. You know what I mean? It's like you're putting on that front, you're putting on that voice. That's why I say it's like it's too high pitched for me. And the inhaling, it's like I wouldn't even have my kids. Like it makes me feel uncomfortable. You know, like
Yeah.
I wouldn't want my kid sitting in the same living room as me hearing that. It's nasty.
Yeah, that made me uncomfortable, like real uncomfortable.
Yeah, very uncomfortable.
So I don't want to make you feel more uncomfortable, but I have another example to show
Come
you.
on.
Okay, so this one, I took some pictures online. They're not from porn, but it's just people having sex, but it's not really having sex. It's more so just like pictures on Google. So they're safe pictures, but I want to play it now with pictures of people having sex.
Absolutely not. Like that's exactly what you would envision
Mm,
is those pictures, not the mother of God giving birth to Christ. You know what I mean? Like that's
mm,
how disrespectful it is. And it's even worse the more you think about it, the more you hear it, that their interpretation of Mary giving birth sounds like that. Oh, that's like you should be striked. Like God should strike you right now for that. Like it's just it's
Yeah,
just so
like
disrespectful.
what's going on here?
And another thing too is that this should be the most important scene in just about anything Jehovah's Witnesses do because it's the birth of Jesus. So for that, they should have brought in experts. Bring in a woman that's had childbirth. Like they could do that. It's not like they can't. They generally pull from Bethel, like you mentioned, Ruby, but it's not like they can't pull someone from a congregation to do that for something so important. And why not have a director that makes it clear, like, no, this is the birth of Jesus. So there's no excuse for it. And another thing too that I thought was a little off, and this goes more to the subliminal side, is that why is she like pacing back and forth? And that's the scene that they give. Like, there's no scene where she's pushing Jesus out of her. Like, pretty much that's the end of the scene. Right after that, then they show the baby Jesus. So why don't they have it more where she's like laying on a bed or something, and she's because this is the moment of Jesus is born. So I think that the reason I have her pacing back and forth is because it makes it less obvious that they're putting sexual sounds in it. If she was laying on a bed and she was pushing Jesus of the baby Jesus out, then I think you would notice more so that her sexual sounds are inappropriate. So I think they did that on purpose, have her pacing back and forth. But why is that the seed of Jesus? Like the most important scene, that's what you come up with. So, but basically, I don't know. I don't know if you guys want to add any final thoughts to this, but my final thought is that and I like the way you said it, Ruby. It's very disrespectful. Um, and even for those that are atheists that don't really believe in this stuff, it's like it's still disrespectful that this is Jesus. You know, so whether you believe he was real or not, I mean, it's a story of Jesus, and there's no excuse to do that, to put sexual sounds. And they should have had the best producers. They should have went out of their way to get the right actress to play Mary and make sure she knows what she's doing. And plus, again, when you do movies, you have a bunch of takes. You have take one, take two, take three, and they're going to pick the best one. So there's no excuse. And for those of you who are watching this, blur out the image, just listen to the audio and play it for people and see like what do people think it is? Do they think it's a Bible-based drama based on Jesus, or are they going to think it's porn? The two should never mix, period.
Mm-mm.
Um, but let me ask, Rebecca, are you still with us? She probably had to go. So let me just ask you, Chrissy, Just what are your final thoughts? And again, you've never been a Jehovah's Witness, so I'm very curious your overall thought on this whole thing.
Right. Like I was telling Ruby earlier, the only thing I know about being a Jehovah's Witness is that Michael Jackson was a Jehovah's Witness. I've never
And
been.
Prince. Don't forget about Prince.
Oh, Prince too.
Yeah.
You know, but I've never been part of that. I grew up Christian. I thought I was wherever I was supposed to be when I went to church with other people, and I just don't think that matches. It made me uncomfortable. I've been pregnant 6 times, and I might not have done the natural childbirth like everybody else, but like I said, I've been in the room when my nephew was born. I've been in the room when my ex-boyfriend's nephew was born, so, and it just doesn't match. The video doesn't match anything that I've ever experienced. I've had C-sections, I've had all kinds of different surgeries, and I've experienced all kinds of pain regarding that situation right there. But whatever you just played for us, it just doesn't match anything that I'm used to seeing and hearing, because it sounds pleasurable and not like painful. It doesn't sound painful enough to be associated with what they're doing there. So,
And just for the record, too, Christy's never been a Jehovah's Witness, so nobody can say she's an apostate trying to make stuff up.
never that.
So then, Ruby, what are your final thoughts on this sad display of Jesus' birth?
Yes. So my final thoughts would be just a little background for my birthing stories. I've had 3 vaginal, natural, and 1 without epidural, all of them very painful and even traumatic. Like Chrissy said, that sounded more pleasurable than painful. I agree with that 100%. And I was very young when I gave birth. I was 18, 20, 21. I was very young. So, and even then, I didn't even have the energy, the strength at that time. Even it doesn't matter how old you are or how young you are, it's painful. It's not a joke. You're not going to be making these little sounds and inhaling with a high-pitched voice. No, it's traumatic experience. You're giving birth to another human being. You know what I mean? And then in relation to Mary, that's what gets me. I have since left the Jehovah's Witnesses, and I have become a catechumen, and I am attending an Orthodox church. Learning how the Catholics feel about Mary and Jesus, learning how the Orthodox Christians feel about this. They don't take this lightly. It's a very serious thing for Christians. And I also agree with them. This is the mother of God. Like you said before, whether you believe in it or not, Christians do. They believe that this was the mother of God himself, Jesus Christ, giving birth to him. They believe that this was a miraculous birth, that she did not endure labor pains, that she did not suffer during the birth of Jesus Christ. And all of this has significance. It's all very symbolic. It's very, Christians understand this part of Christianity and they take it very seriously. So when you see these organizations or cults or Protestants or whatever, how they perceive Mary in this time, it is disrespectful to these Christians who believe and have church history, have, church fathers describing the birth of Jesus Christ. That's where the disrespect comes in. And I feel it as well. That's why I've mentioned it many times. It's very disrespectful. Another point was like the bad acting. A very good actress in Hollywood could do the exact same thing 10 times better, and she's never given birth before. So what's the excuse for Watchtower? As a billion-dollar religion or corporation or real estate company, whatever you want to call them, they get money to do this production. Why is this so low quality? Why is it, like you said, it's either done on purpose, it's deliberate, because you have all the money in the world to mimic Hollywood, and yet you come up with this? It's disrespectful, and it is on purpose. And with Christmas coming up, the nativity season is here. Everybody's thinking about Mary and Jesus at this moment. Even Netflix just came out with a trailer depicting the same thing. Mary giving birth, that she's experiencing labor pains and things like that. So you could even see the Netflix trailer and you could compare it with the JW stuff. Even then, it's still a major difference. And equally, Netflix and the JW version is equally disrespectful because they also portray Mary as suffering, having these labor pains, and then giving birth to Jesus. Whereas these Orthodox Christians, the majority of Christendom, believes that Mary did not give birth like that, that she was a miraculous birth, that she maintained her virginity. So that's where the disrespect comes from, because that doesn't sound like a virgin. That doesn't sound like she kept her virginity even after Jesus was born. You know what I'm saying? So it goes deeper than just a clip, than just a soundbite, than just the JW version of this. This is upsetting to the whole Christian world. They're like millions and billions of Christians around the world. It's very disrespectful. So I'm so glad that you invited me to give my opinions, and I'm so glad that I can, help you out with this.
Well, as I said, you're Ruby Queen tonight because you've had 3 children natural. So again, and those in the comments, the trolls, don't even embarrass yourself. These are women that know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And one more thought, Ruby, as you were talking, and I thought of was the whole Ramapole project. They're making this. They're spending so many millions of dollars on their audiovisual center. It's like what you said, and this is the crap they're coming up with. Why are they spending so many millions of dollars investing in their movies and this big building they're building for this cheesy crap? So it is deliberate. They know exactly what they're doing. And that whole voiceover theory you have, that's a good theory because that very well could be it. They could have added their sick women making those orgasm sounds after they recorded it, perhaps, but it's definitely on purpose. So thank you again, experts. Thank you, Ruby. Thank you, Christy. And thank you, Rebecca, even though she couldn't stay with us the whole time. And really appreciate it. And we'll see what else Watchtower does stupid that we have to expose.
Ugh.